You got it. Yeah. And think about, Richard, what do you guess? I mean, I don't know the answer to this. We haven't done any research on this specifically, but what do you think the average person joining a network marketing company, how much time are they spending behind social trying to post stuff? And then they don't know Facebook's algorithm is not actually sending what they think is being posted to their page, and then they feel like they're working and they spend a half hour or an hour, right? I mean, I don't know how much time is being spent there, but I think it's a lot.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us today. Today, I'm going to be talking to Patrick Shaw, who joined and got started in the multi-level marketing industry in 1995. And he's one of those lucky people who really managed to create a wonderful lifestyle. Those lifestyles everybody dreams about in the MLM space? Well, he managed to create one of those lifestyles in the MLM space. So he's got an enormous amount of experience in building network marketing companies and teams. In 2014, he launched RapidFunnel. It's a tech platform in the authentic sharing technology space. Now, Patrick is going to explain to us what that's all about. I'm desperate to understand what that means, so I'm looking forward to that. He employs 70 people in 9 countries and serves hundreds of thousands of people, both in the traditional industries and also in the network marketing space. So you can imagine that I'm really excited to be talking to you, Patrick. Thank you very much for joining me, and welcome to the podcast.
Richard, I am excited to be here. I have had an opportunity to check you out, and it just blows me away that there are people doing the kind of things that you're doing, and I wasn't aware of it.
And vice versa.
It's crazy. I know. I mean, it's pretty exciting, but I just love what you're doing, and the podcast looked fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So I hope I won't disappoint.
No, I'm sure you're not going to disappoint. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. So I'd like to just kick off. I'm going to put these glasses on and off because I'm as blind as a bat without them, and I can't see what's written in front of me. But
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There you go. So what I'd like to just start, if you could just give us your story. I mean, the cool thing is to find out what your journey has been. So I'd love to hear that.
The short of it is a very traditional network marketing story, right? I 7 years out of school, and I was severely dyslexic and fell in love with this idea that we can, that other people's perceptions are not our reality. And so I loved personal development, and then network marketing came along and stumbled a little bit and figured it out. And then, 10 years ago, really, I started struggling with duplication and simplicity that the business was born on, right? And that's when I started transitioning into SaaS, software as a service, and building the RapidFunnel platform. But I 25 years in network marketing or something like that, and I built this massive organization, and all of a sudden, different people were coming to me with basically digital marketing concepts. And some of these people were succeeding. They were making it work in terms of their personal results, but they could not make these systems duplicate. They were complicated. They were expensive. One person would come to me and show me how they were creating capture pages and funnels and all this. I mean, we never would have called our company Rapid Funnel because all the funnel stuff came out afterwards. And in a sense, that's what I was trying to avoid. Like, don't show me another digital marketing tool, right, that requires an individual network marketer to go sign up, pay $50, $100, $500 a month, create a capture page, an email campaign, a survey, and then you're trying to get these tools to talk to each other. That's complicated, right? And so I was trying to solve that problem, and that was the birth of this idea of authentic sharing technology, that the fundamentals of network marketing, Richard, are relationship-based, it's person to person. And sure, but we have to use technology. I knew that wasn't going away. DVDs are dead. I mean, at the same time I was frustrated with this, Richard, there were people in my organization who were trying to shove DVDs down people's throats. And I'm like, man, nobody even has a DVD player anymore. What are you doing?
Yeah,
but they were holding on to the old because the new was broken in terms of duplication, speed, momentum, depth, all of that, and authenticity. So anyway, that's that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned this authentic sharing. I've
Mm-hmm.
tried to sort of research it online before I connected with you. Can you just give me some insight into what it means to do authentic sharing? What is that concept?
The concept is that networking is relationship based. It's built on trust and rapport, and I still need to be able to generate leads and talk to people. But if I can start the dialogue, so one of the things that one of our best practices might be, I would send you a simple text message, and hey, Richard, I'm doing some market research. I'd love to get your opinion on this subject matter. If I sent you a 1-minute survey, would you check it out? And you would say, well, sure. I mean, that's low key, it's permission based. We start some dialogue, and then I turn around and send you a survey. And now you answer the survey. And if the survey is really written properly, problem aware, not solution or product, it's not a trick to get you to buy, sell, or join. It's genuine, it's authentic. You answer the survey. Now I have all the answers to the survey. And now I follow up with the appropriate resource based on the survey. And on and on and on it goes until I've made 5 to 7 exposures, right? And I've had all these things at my fingertips, and I didn't have to create anything.
You just
It
push
was
them.
all designed by somebody who knew how to have an exchange, right? How to build rapport, how to make a friend, and not this Kardashians hide behind digital marketing and pretend to be authentic.
And
They're
you've got an
not
army of
calling
people who
you.
are tweeting
Yeah.
for you and an army of people who are sending out Instagrams or whatever.
Right. It's not authentic. It's, and I get it. They're trying to be authentic, but they're not, because they're not willing to talk to you. They want to be authentic behind the mask of digital marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's the one to many approach is what I call it. Any tools that are built for one to many, 1 to 1,000, and many of our customers will come and they're immediately like, oh, but could you automate this? Could you? I was
Well,
like, we won't automate it if I can't keep the user involved. If I let the user know that this is happening anyway. So
I'm with
that's
you.
the concept. Yeah.
And so you've built this incredible app that utilizes those concepts to build a relationship with the leads. Now, are those leads coming in from anywhere, or are those people that I know? How do those leads get into the system?
These leads are all, of course, we can drop leads into the system, but our platform is really about an individual distributor having content resources that are all personalized to that individual. Make the distributor, if you're the company, make the distributor the superstar. Make them the brand, but pre-build it all so they have it in this app, and now they can start prospecting. And so they've got all the tools, but they're really reaching out one-to-one, one-to-one, one-to-one with speed and momentum and all of that. But it's not you can't do any kind of data dump. We won't even let you in our platform import, a bulk of leads, because we're not going to let you communicate to a bulk of people at one time.
And how's that communication taking place, Patrick? Are you sending out emails? Are you doing SMSs, WhatsApps? How does that all happen?
It's kind of everything, right? I mean, we can communicate on any channel that they normally communicate on with their prospects. So if it's pre-written text or capture pages or memes or whatever it is, they can communicate in the way they would normally communicate with the audience that they communicate with. And text message is an example. Text are all there. We're using their personal text platform. We're not using an outside platform. And there are problems with outside platforms, right?
Of course.
It means I have to go to a separate portal. I send to a whole group of people. I didn't realize that one of those people on the list I talked to 2 hours ago and their dog died. And now I'm so insensitive. I'm sending them a message. That's the kind of stuff that shouldn't happen if you're a genuine person, right?
So
if you really,
yeah, of course, because you're actually, it's what you're saying. It's a relationship I'm trying to build with this person. And network marketing specifically, I mean, it applies to, as you said, it applies to a lot of different verticals, but network marketing in particular is about relationships. It's all about that interpersonal relationships, either with your network or with your customers. So just
It really is. And I think that's what we've lost some of. You see some of these companies that are almost trying to circumvent the field in some way. They're almost designing a comp plan that's two-tiered. If it's really a network marketing company, the power is in the people. It's in the relationship 6 levels deep that a brand new person can feel great about a product, say, I know 35 people right now that should know about this. And if I had a great approach, there's nothing that can cut through the digital world and the noise, the 5,000 impressions that people see a day, like a relationship can.
look, and when I was, sorry.
Yeah.
When I was chatting with your team, one of the questions that sort of got raised was, do I believe in the digital age? And my answer to them was, yes, I believe in the digital age, but it cannot replace the belly-to-belly interaction. And I think that the COVID thing has actually had a massively negative impact on network marketing as a whole, because people think that they can actually do this thing online. They can do a Zoom call and they can have an impact, but they can't. You actually need to sit with somebody. You need to talk to them. You need to have that interpersonal connection, and nothing beats that belly-to-belly communication. So I'm super, let's say, committed to the old methods of doing multi-level marketing. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, obviously, but trying to create that one-on-one personal interaction, there's nothing that beats that.
I agree with you. And it's almost, you almost hate to say I'm committed to the old methods, but I'm kind of with you. I mean, that was what network marketing is. It's about the people. And if we start taking the people out of it, what's the point?
Well, then you've got an e-commerce store, haven't you?
Yeah, be in an e-commerce store, be a digital retailer. You don't need the people.
Yes.
Right? Go to influencers and get them, pay them straight up to market your product to their audience, and they can flush out and go away. But, I was on a podcast the other day, Rich, and we were talking about, this fella had, he'd made all the money and done it and built it big and all that kind of stuff. And I said, how many people were really part of your core group? Like we're going to battle together. Now, this guy had 900,000 recruits or something over. He had 19 people at its peak. At its biggest, it's 19 people. And that's what's so powerful. He only had 19. Now, each of those 19, they probably had a dozen or so too, right? That they would go to battle with. And it's that kind of relationship that makes a sticky business. And then you've got to be able to teach something. Richard, when you and I started, I don't know how old you are now, but I started, there was a VHS tape, a fax, a phone, and a meeting to go to. And people say, well, what do I do first? It doesn't matter. You can fax them, you can call them, you can send them this tape and then call them and then fax them, or you can invite them to the meeting first and then give them a VHS tape. It doesn't, it's 4 simple things. And our energy was spent on how to build a relationship and build rapport and be authentic and build a team and communicate. And today, with all the noise and distraction, there has to be a better way. You can't throw people into this, learn to be a digital marketer to succeed in network marketing.
No, you can't. 100% agree with you. Okay, so I download the app. I get it onto my cell phone. Let's talk about some mechanics. Get my cell phone. So I've got my cell phone here, and I want to communicate some of the messaging with my network or with people I know, with leads I know. Can I say, okay, I want to push this particular message to my Facebook account, or I want to push this message to my WhatsApp account, and I want it to go to Joe Blogs on WhatsApp? Is that how it works?
Yes, we probably should have planned this, and I could have just pulled it up and done a screen share on the Zoom, which I could probably still do if we want, or we can save it for another day. But that's how it works. It's all branded to that company, their color, their logos. I can hit the plus button. I can import all my contacts. Everything's right there at my fingertips. And now I turn around and I go to resources, and I've got all my resources categorized the way I need them. They're all pre-done for me. It tells me, hey, here's your peak, present, and follow-up tools. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Under step 1, I've got 2 or 3 resources. I can text somebody. I can hit them up on WhatsApp or Telegram or Messenger or whatever. And I can reach out with a very personal message. It automates all that, their name and info. Everything's trackable. I know exactly when they clicked on it, how many minutes of a video they watched, what the play rate, the engagement rate was. So I know all of this, and globally, the leader can see, right, the exposures and the engagements. So I'm a big proponent of this 4 Disciplines of Execution book, right,
Oh,
written by the Covey organization.
Sorry, I need to write that down. 4 Disciplines of Execution.
4 Disciplines of Execution, and he says, now this is the #1 best-selling business book in the world that the vast majority of networkers have never heard of or read. It's a business book, but it says you should have a wildly important goal, #1, which we know every networker and every company should have a wildly important goal. #2 is you should identify and act on the lead measure. And the lead measure in networking is prospecting and follow-up. It's the quantity of the exposures and the quality of the follow-up, and then maybe teaching 1 and 2 at the highest level. At the highest level, you got to teach 1 and 2 with authenticity and duplication and all those things, but it's prospecting and follow-up. And so, and then 3 and 4 another day, but that's what we do. We make sure that we're going to drive that lead measure. So there's no mistake with somebody in the field who often thinks, well, the product's not working, the comp plan's not working, I'm struggling, I think the timing is wrong. And I can say, hey, let me take a look at your app. Let's look at your numbers. And I have them click on stats, and I have them hit the brag button and text me their stat screen. And I can see the quantity and the quality of their exposure. I know immediately, 95% of the time, I know exactly where they're struggling, right? We don't have to play this game of them trying to interpret what they might be doing right or wrong. I know what's working and what's not, and I can see it right there.
You see,
it's super powerful.
And obviously that then gives somebody a very, very narrow focus on what they should be doing. Because one of the things you mentioned, which I think is so true, is that you've got 1,000 things you can be doing, and the guys are consuming 20 books, and it's how to do LinkedIn, and it's how to do this, and it's how to market on Facebook, and they get themselves confused. And then at the end of the day, they don't do the basics. I mean, when we started in the industry, I did probably the same with you, we would go to a person and we'd say to them, listen, I've got an amazing opportunity. I'd like to spend 10 minutes showing it to you. Do you have 10 minutes for me? And we would literally do a straight approach, connect with the guys, or or the other way we used to do it is, listen, I think that you'd be great at this business I'm involved in. If I sent you a video, if I sent you a brochure, would you take a look at it for me? Yes, I would. When are you going to look at it? Friday, fantastic. If I call you on Saturday, you looked at it, right? Excellent. Let me call you on Saturday, see where we're at. We teach that fundamental mechanism to our network, and they would go out. It's one thing to do. Go and say these words, you get a lead. For every 10 leads you get 5 appointments. For every 5 appointments, you recruit 2 people. Then it becomes a numbers game. You know, just go out and so it seems to me what you guys have done with the app is that you've actually automated or simplified. Let's not say automated, because not automated, it's actually simplified.
Right.
I've still got to do the actions, but it's a very simple process. I just push the information out there.
Yeah, we came from the same school, and it's more nuanced today, right? Because the truth is, I can't call somebody anymore. They don't pick up the phone, and I can't ask them to meet me for coffee. I've got to create a little dialogue first. I've got to say, hey, would you, something simple that they can do, like, would you take a survey for me? Oh, would you take this 1-minute survey? And now all of a sudden, I asked 7 really good questions, and now they start going, man, what are they doing? That's interesting. Did they have a solution to that? And now I can text them and say, hey, could we catch up tomorrow? Could we meet for coffee? I need 15 minutes. You know, like I can, and if I can do that and I feel comfortable reaching out to my chicken list, and I can do it faster, right? Because today you got to hit up more people, and you should be able to because of the digital world. but you still got to do it appropriately. You can't post your company's video to your Facebook page and have a cattle call.
No.
That just screams, I will take anybody. Would you join my company? I'm trying to recruit you.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
a good approach.
No, and
Right?
people don't believe you.
No,
As soon as that,
no.
because it's that authentic side of it is gone. I'm just throwing mud against the wall and seeing what sticks, and people will pick up on that straight away.
You got it. Yeah. And think about, Richard, how what do you guess? I mean, I don't know the answer to this. We haven't done any research on this specifically, but what do you think the average person joining a network marketing company, how much time are they spending behind social trying to post stuff? And then they don't know Facebook's algorithm is not actually sending what they think is being posted to their page, and then they feel like they're working and they spend a half hour or an hour, right? I mean, I don't know how much time is being spent there, but I think it's a lot.
Well, there's a lot of busy work going on, but not a lot of
Yeah.
effective work. And we have a look at the stats because we've obviously got a large number of clients. And on average, in a network, the average is 1.2 new recruits in their lifetime. That's the average. I mean, that's insane.
That's
At 1.2
right.
recruits, you still get exponential growth, so the business still grows. But if your average networker is only bringing 1.2 people, that's actually a challenge. And what you've got to do is, in order for people to stay in the business, they've got to make money, they've got to be fulfilled, they've got to be engaged, they've got to be part of the social scene, they've got to be excited about your incentives, a whole lot of things they've got to be doing. And in order to make that happen, you need mechanisms that engage them. And what I love about what you guys are doing is it's a really first-class mechanism to engage both your leads and your network in the activities they need to be engaged in.
That's it. And we have a thing called an impact analysis. And we have all the correlation and causation data. So we know, because we've hooked up with companies via API on the back end, and we know when a conversion happens, a recruit or a sale happens. So we can see the path to conversion, not from a digital marketing perspective, but from an individual rep in the field.
Yeah.
And their personal communication, which tools they're using, in which order that led to a conversion.
Yes.
Which gives a company, one, insight into how to make the path better with better content and resources. But it also gives us great insight into, how can we affect the total number of exposures and engagements. So we are driving things like gamification, leaderboards, and contests to drive the field to play the game, the yellow brick road to prospecting. And then we have this impact analysis, and we can plug in the data, and we know, because of this correlation causation data, we know that activity leads to results. I had a president of field operations of $1 billion company once. He was on the phone. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And he says, Patrick, and I'm trying to tell him we can drive activity, right? I know we can drive the number of exposures and the number of engagements that the prospects participate in. And if we can drive these up by 25, 35%, we're going to drive sales up by a very similar, right, number, right? They're correlated completely. And we had all the data. And this president says to me, he goes, Patrick, we're not interested in activity. We're only interested in results.
Well, I would say there's a very good chance that president of that $1 billion company
he's
was
not there anymore.
Well, not
No,
only that, I
no.
guarantee you he was employed. He didn't build that company.
He didn't build it, and he's not there anymore. And that's it, though, Richard. I mean, you get it. You knew. I knew you. But it's just funny. And if you can drive that, and that's so we show companies like we know we can move that line by 25 to 30%. If they'll just follow the best practices and employ the platform, we will get the field moving. And that's what's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, look, that is actually what I'm loving about this whole concept, is that it is an easy way for anyone with a network to focus their network on the 5 or 6 simple tasks that they can do every day. And if I do 10 exposures a day, let's say 20 days a week, I mean, that is 200 exposures that I've made. And if you have a team of 30,000 people and each of them was doing that, the amount of exposure your product is getting, you couldn't afford to pay for that. No. It would be impossible to pay for that level of exposure. You're just creating so much value for the company as a whole if they were to push this into their network and allow their network to do the actions that are simple and easy and replicatable. Can I ask you something? Who does the messaging within the app? Is it the company who has to do the messaging, or do you?
No, we build out, and you'll appreciate this, Richard. What we discovered really early is I thought we'll just give them the technology because we built it. We knew it worked. We had the team. We delivered the technology, and we did not get the uptick that I thought we should have because we had tested it in the real world. I had it in a $1 billion company, and that entire company used it. They tried to pay me at some point to pay a software company to build it. And so I agreed to it as a one-off for that one company. They spent $1 million and it was just a disaster. They didn't understand how to build it. So that's when I realized there were so many applications, other verticals, et cetera. So then we went back, then we rolled it out in that $1 billion company. We had massive results for the last decade. And then when I started selling to other companies, they just weren't getting the same kind of result. And we realized we have to have an onboarding team. This is about 5 years ago. So we built the entire onboarding team. And then a third of the time they would crush it. They had the technology, they had the content. We would help them on board with our best practices, how to write a survey, text. We didn't get into video creation, or we did, and then we got out of it just because, all the reasons. Very complicated. So we have them outsource all that with different providers. But anyway, so we launched, and still 2/3 of the time we weren't getting the traction we wanted. And then we realized, okay, well, we're actually gonna have to coach the coaches. And so we literally create the PowerPoints for them. We make sure it's all about them, but we give them the curriculum to train and teach the fundamentals as it relates to a specific feature in the app and a specific resource. And we do this in a series of trainings. So anyway, so we walk them all the way through the process to guarantee a result, right? Yeah. And it's made all the difference in the world. There's no stone left unturned. If they want to drive this number, we can help them drive it. Yeah.
Look, we've discovered the same thing. We've got very sophisticated communication mechanisms within our platform. You hand them over to the client, and what they put into those communications is garbage. You think to yourself, who wrote this? Did a 2-year-old write this? And so we've had the same thing, is we've had to get specialists in to craft all of the messaging so that you're not irritating the person who's receiving it, that it's clear and it's concise and all the rest of it. So having somebody who understands how the mechanisms work, who can actually craft the messaging with you, I think is a massive plus. Because I've found that technology, we have a DIY version of our system, and it's just such a disaster that we've done exactly what you've done. We've put an entire implementation team in here, and we say to the guys, right? Look, you can go and do it yourself if you want, but to be honest with you, hand it off to us. We'll do the full implementation for you. We'll get it up and running. All you got to do is make it work. And then we've got another fallback position. We've got a thing called iAssist, where we literally act as their administrator for the system, and we run the whole system for them. Anything they want to do, they just.
Can I steal this screen a second?
Yeah, go for it.
So it's what you're describing, and they want you to solve it for them. They don't, people when they buy a drill, as they don't really care about the features in the drill. They just want a hole. What they're actually buying is, I want a hole.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we discovered there are 4 legs to the stool. The tech, we have the best tech in the world, and nothing's close. But it's like a Ferrari with no gas and no keys? Who cares?
Exactly.
Right? So you got to put gas in it. That's the content, the resources. We help them build it all out. Then it must be organized well, because left to their own devices, they dump 400 resources in the app. The new distributor comes and they don't know what to do. It's got to be so clear when they download it, they go, wow, I know exactly what to do. And then we have to coach them. And this is us coaching the coaches, the leaders. We don't want to steal their glory. We just want to sit behind them and say, hey, we're going to make you the superstar, but this is what you're going to teach. And once they've taught it for 6 or 8 weeks, they're all good to go. They don't ever need taught again because they know how to run. But that's the key to our success. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the things that a lot of company owners are fearful of. You know, they get this amazing piece of tech, and either they have to work out how it works themselves, which just doesn't happen, or they've got to get specialists in, generally, who mess it up for them. And there is nobody better to do these things than the company who actually produced the software in the first place, because that company understands exactly how this is supposed to work, understands how the messaging is supposed to work, has done it with 100 other clients. So when they come to you to do it, you're not learning from the ground up. You know what messages work. You know how to engage people. You know how to do these things. You put it together with some specifics for that company, but fundamentally you understand the principles, and it's a shortcut. To the success story, if I can put it that way.
Well, and it's the same thing for you guys, right? You know what the distributor needs to see, what they want to see, what they're looking for in their back office. So why would a company possibly want to learn all this on their own? Why not just take all your best practices, especially if you're willing to teach it, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and we found that since we've started to do that, we found that our churn rate has dropped radically, because a lot of companies get into the multi-level marketing space, and you know it. They do 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 1,765,000. Fantastic. Let's go shop for Porsches. But they don't realize the intricacies and the nuances within the industry, and they belly flop because of that. It's actually one of the reasons I started this channel, MLM for CEOs, is to try and help companies to understand that there's actually so much to this industry, and you don't know what you don't know. You know, and the same with you guys. Yeah. You know, what you do is highly specialized, and it's taken you a lifetime to learn these skills. You know, it makes sense that you would do the setups and the implementation.
Yeah, no, it's that's exactly it. And yeah, anyway, we can go so many directions, but that's the key, is that 90% of new people, when they join a company, Richard, they are looking, they may love the product, they may love the people, they may like the comp plan. That's all great. But the reality is, what they're saying to themselves is, in the back of their mind or their subconscious, is, can I do what you did to me? Would I want to do this? Is this a business I want to be in? And do I think I can actually succeed? And if you can grab them when they first get started, and you can help that person to make 5 exposures, right? And actually have a little success, do something that's comfortable. You know, we all say, get out of your comfort zone. Well, that's great. But if you get them too far outside their comfort zone, they're gone.
Exactly.
Right. So it's cute in network marketing, and it is true. We all got to get out of our comfort zone a little, but don't push them so far off the cliff that they're out altogether. Right. And
exactly.
So if you can show them something they're comfortable doing, and they go, wow, that was pretty easy, and this person was willing to help me, and they took a look, and oh my gosh, now I had a gal in Rodan and Fields, one of the top recruiters in the entire company, and she admitted, I am scared to follow up. I am so good at prospecting, but I don't like bugging people. And now she picks up her app and she goes, I know exactly who just watched all the video, and I know how many minutes they watched, and I know what score they have as a prospect. Every prospect has a score based on their own individual activity metrics and the exchanges that they've had. She goes, I feel empowered. Now I'm following up like I've never followed up before, because I know they just watched 10 minutes of a video, and I call them 5 minutes later and they're like, oh my gosh, I just watched your video. Oh, well, that's awesome. Right time, right place, right person. It just changes the dynamics, right? And that's, those are the nuances, those little things that you and, both of us, we spent so long in our individual respective spaces that you start to learn stuff that you just couldn't see otherwise, except through 20 years of, plus experience.
Well, what the critical thing that I think one of the sort of, let's say, the high notes of what you've just said now is that I know how this person has interacted with the material I've sent them. Because if you know from the old days when we got started in MLM, you would send the person a DVD. You had no idea whether they watched it. So you try and get them to commit to watching it. So when do you think you're going to watch it? They say, I'll watch it on Friday. So if I give you a call on Saturday, you'll have watched it, right? And they say, yes, I'll have watched it. And so Saturday, you're calling them. You don't know if they've watched it or not. You have no idea. You call them on Saturday,
No,
hey, did you watch the video? Oh, no, I didn't. Now you got to have a whole story. Oh, that's not a problem. I understand that. When do you think you're going to be able to watch it for sure? And then they say Sunday. Okay, fantastic. I'll call you on Monday. And it's all guesswork. You don't know if they've interacted with the content. You don't know how much they've interacted with it. You don't know if they've watched the videos or not watched the videos. If they've seen the video, if they've gone to your YouTube channel, you know nothing.
So true. And I think that's where, just talking with you, I mean, that is kind of where the industry's changed. You have to make 5 times more exposures today, but you can make them lower key. You don't have to, if I have a good approach, I can make 5 times more exposures very easy. I can see who kind of raises their hand. I still have to follow up with everybody, but it's not so time consuming. I can send them a survey. They agree. They'd say they'll take the survey. I send them the survey. They don't take the survey. I send them a question mark on my phone. That's it. I send them a question mark. They go, oh, my bad. I'll take it right now. Okay. Now I say, hey, that is so funny. Feel, felt, found. I know exactly how you feel. Yeah. I felt the same way. Here's what I found. If I sent you a video based on how you answered this, I thought you'd really appreciate it. It's about 5 minutes. Would you be able to watch it? And then I sent another question mark. And if they balk, hey, it seems like the timing's not great. Would it be okay if I touch base with you once in a while via email?
Exactly.
Like, these are things we can teach, and they're so powerful. And then 9 months later, that person gets an email from me. 45, 60 days, the emails are spread out. There's not too much info. It's very informal. It's low key. It's very personal. It's, hey, I was thinking about you. I came across this video. I thought you would appreciate it. It was kind of funny. Check out minute 150. And then they will watch the video, and then they watch another one, and the app is telling me. And then all of a sudden, the prospect 9 months ago that I prospected, they were the right person all along. It just wasn't the right time. And now it is. And now I know.
Well, you know something? We have people who come to our channel, this MLM for CEOs channel, and they've been watching videos of ours for 8 months, 12 months. And 12 months down the road, they decide to get involved in the business. Now, how cool would it be if I knew which videos they've watched, when they've watched them, how much of them they've watched, what questions they've asked, how they've interacted with us? If I knew all of that, I would know exactly when to hit them up and talk to them about buying our system. And so that, for me, when you talk about your system, that for me is the thing that's exciting, is that we are data mining in a way that has never been possible before and that I've never seen done anywhere else. And now you know your client.
On a real individual basis.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's, and people every once in a while try to say, well, you're like a CRM. And I'm like, no, please don't use that word around us, right? Yeah, we have all those features, but CRMs, 25, 30% of the people get put in after they've already bought.
Exactly.
We're not about the relationship management. We're about driving the lead measure. We're about the quality and quantity of the prospecting. And there's so much power in that, anyway, that's another story, but it's so powerful. If you can drive the 4 disciplines of execution says that the hardest thing to do in any sales organization, right, is move the middle. It's the 60% of the middle the superstars are going to do what they're going to do. The people who aren't going to do anything aren't going to do anything, and you can't move them. But in network marketing, there's a reality. If you can get the middle to move, if you can get a lot of people to do a little bit consistently every month, if you could just get them to do 1 or 2 exposures a day, you would have an army in no time.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And there's a lot of power there. We're going to be fast friends, Richard. I've enjoyed this so much.
Well, look, one of the things I would like to do with you, I mean, we're coming to the end of this now, and we're probably going to have to shut down in a few minutes. I've got another appointment I've got to get to. But one of the things I'd really like to do, Patrick, is have a couple more sessions with you. The next session, I would really love you to just demonstrate your whole system and talk through how it works, because I think that our clients for sure would like it. And I think that there's many people who are with you. We've got over 10,000 CEOs who are following us on Facebook. And so we can actually connect with them with the app. Obviously, I'm going to be looking for a referral code. Don't forget that one.
That's right. And listen, I want to have you on our podcast, and I want to learn more about, just from everything I saw, I was so impressed. I can tell you guys are doing it right, and I'm excited to learn more myself on your end.
Yeah, so Patrick, listen, thank you very, very much for spending this time. I'll reach out to you on email. I'd love to set up another session with you for a full demo so that you can demo it and we can show everybody out there what is possible with this. I definitely want to sit down with you and discuss how we can integrate your systems with NetReady, because I think there's an opportunity for us to literally say to our clients, look, there's the system and this is how you drive your business. I think that would be an amazing add-on for our system, and I think it would be tremendous for our business. And as you know, we've got a revenue share model, so if we can make our clients extremely successful, it's going to put a smile on my face.
I love it. Listen, it's just about 8 o'clock here in Denver, Colorado, and what a way for me to start my day, to get to meet you and spend time. It's awesome.
And vice versa.
I won't say fantastic.
No, don't say that word. We're not going to tell that joke either. Well, listen, Patrick, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate the time you spent with us. I cannot wait to get this up onto our site. We're going to put it up unedited, so it's going to have all the fluffs and the whatever. We don't believe in editing the stuff, so it's going to go up as it is. So whatever you said is going to be out there, but I think you've said some amazing stuff and you've made some incredible points. So thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you, Richard.
Excellent. You go well. Cheers, Patrick. Thanks.